When somebody behind a desk in Silicon Valley says, I disagree with them politically, I'm going to silence them. Boing. And that's exactly what they do. That's what we've seen across the board. Anybody who has an alternative view to Stalinism, they get silenced, essentially erased in the public square. That's not what this country was founded on. And I'm pretty sure that if somebody were to do that to them, they would be just as angry.
After, I believe it was in light of the election, you and a couple of colleagues introduced HB 2180 here in the state of Arizona with regard to kind of getting a handle on Facebook and Twitter with their censorship policies, essentially arguing that, you know, if these folks are going to be censoring their users, they might as well be a publisher rather than a platform for those folks if they're going to be making those decisions. Can you just talk about where that bill has gone and kind of what the deal is with it now?
Yeah, that's a great segue from what my legislative history is. Legislatively, I have always tried to recognize the civil rights that are enumerated, inculcated into our Constitution. One of those is your First Amendment right to free speech. And General Jerry Boykin said something a number of years ago at Watchman on the Wall that has just always stuck with me. They don't necessarily want to control your speech. They want to control your thought, because speech is the output of thought. So you think about George Orwell, 1984. I don't need to say any more on that. So House Bill 2180 essentially would have defined in Arizona law the difference between a platform and a publisher. It's very clear. A publisher will go into material that is posted online and edit it, remove it, prohibit its viewing. There's a lot of things that go with the publisher world. At the same time, under Section 230 of the Federal Code, a platform doesn't do those things. So what I attempted to do in this bill, and it was assigned to judiciary but has not been heard, probably won't be heard, is define the difference in Arizona law between publisher and platform. And if you are going to be a publisher, then you have to pay a fee. If you're going to be a platform, it's free. Now, of course, there's certain safeguards. You can't advocate violence against the people group. You can't. It's the old argument of you can't yell fire in a movie theater. So those kinds of things would still be restricted. But at the end of the day, this would create an architecture in Arizona that people would have free speech. Now, I just got off a call this morning with David Barton. I'm sure you recognize that name. And a number of legislators from around the country talking about what is actually in Section 230 of federal law. And there, under, I believe it's paragraph 3, there is a specific carve-out for states to regulate these actions. What this bill would have done is regulate those actions. And it's an interesting approach. What we want to do is foster as much freedom as we can. Well, there's freedom of choice for a platform that wants to be a publisher. If you're going to be a platform, we're not going to charge you the fee. The incentive is be a platform. But if you're going to be a publisher, then you are going to pay a fee. So we're trying to incent the right behaviors for these big tech oligarchs who seem to have this propensity to try to eliminate people's speech when they think it's inappropriate, when they think it's uncomfortable. When somebody behind a desk in Silicon Valley says, I disagree with them politically, I'm going to silence them. Boing. And that's exactly what they do. That's what we've seen across the board. Anybody who has an alternative view to Stalinism, they get silenced, essentially erased in the public square. That's not what this country was founded on. And I'm pretty sure that if somebody were to do that to them, they would be just as angry.